I remember exactly the day everything started to change. It wasn't during an important event, or in some extraordinary moment. It was just a random morning, when I looked in the mirror and realized I didn't recognize myself anymore. My eyes looked tired of trying to fit in, tired of seeking approval in bodies, clothes, and smiles that were never mine. But that morning, as I slipped on my red shoes, I made myself a promise. Even if the world doesn't accept me, I'll keep walking. Since I was little, I've loved shoes. They always fit, even when no jeans would close, even when the zipper of a dress refused to go up. Shoes were my refuge, and in some strange way, they were also my voice. I graduated in fashion design believing I could change the way the industry looked at women, that I could create clothes for women like me, women with curves, with scars, with souls. But the market wasn't ready. Every interview ended with cold smiles and politely cruel words. You have talent, Rachel, but maybe you need a bit more experience. Experience. I knew what they meant. I didn't have the right kind of body to represent a brand. That's how I ended up back at my stepmother's house, Cersei Tremaine. She was the executive producer of the most-watched dating reality show in the country, Love Under Lights. A woman of elegance and sharp heels, firm voice, fake smile, glass soul. Every word she said was calculated, every step rehearsed. Are you still trying to be a designer? She asked without even looking up from her tablet. Yes, I replied. She sighed. Rachel, some people are meant to stay behind the scenes, and that's okay. But it wasn't okay. Being invisible was never enough for me. That week, one of the contestants dropped out at the last minute. Panic hit the production. Cameras stopped, sponsors on the verge of collapse. Cersei looked at me like someone staring at a disposable solution. Rachel, you're going in. Going in? What do you mean? I laughed nervously. As a contestant, you'll replace the girl who quit. Just for a few days. No one will remember. But deep down, I knew she wasn't doing it out of generosity. She wanted me to fail, to become the joke of the season, and maybe, in some twisted way, I wanted to prove her wrong. The first day of filming felt like a nightmare. The other contestants were perfect, sculpted bodies, rehearsed smiles, gowns tailored to every curve, and there I was, wobbling on heels, hiding my fear behind a timid laugh, until I saw him. Jack, the so-called dream bachelor. He was nothing like I expected. Calm, reserved, with a look that carried both melancholy and curiosity. When he saw me, he didn't look away, and that alone disarmed me. Nice shoes, he said. They're my favorite, I replied, trying to sound confident. I can tell, they sound like they know where they're going. I laughed. No one had ever said anything like that to me before. At first, I tried to go unnoticed, but that didn't last long. Cersei made sure I was in the spotlight, and not in a good way. Scenes cut out of context, bad camera angles, awkward close-ups. Soon, I became a joke online. The clumsy, plus-size girl. She's trying too hard. Where did Cersei even find her? But along with the insults, other kinds of messages started appearing. She's real. She reminds me of me. I cried watching her laugh. And that's when something began to shift. Jack started finding me backstage, sometimes just to ask if I was okay, other times to talk about random things, books, coffee, the fear of letting people down. One night, while we were waiting to shoot a scene, he said, "You know what I like about you, Rachel? You're not trying to win. You're just trying to be yourself." I smiled. "And is that a bad thing?" "No," he said. "It's rare." That look in his eyes, it broke down my walls. For the first time, the stage didn't feel so cold. But Cersei noticed. And when she notices, nothing good follows. "You're disrupting the show," she said, calling me into the dressing room. Or are you just afraid the show isn't yours anymore? I replied. She looked at me with that poisonous smile. Jack is a product, Rachel, and products don't fall in love with lost causes. I left shaking. That night, I cried more than I had in years. But Jack showed up. He brought me a coffee and sat beside me in silence. After a while, he whispered, "If they're trying to tear you down, it's because you've already risen higher than they can see." And in that moment, something lit up inside me. It wasn't love yet. It was something stronger. It was courage. The next episodes were different. I laughed more, talked more, let the audience really see me, and the audience embraced me. My social media exploded with messages from women who saw themselves in me. Thank you for not hiding who you are. I wore a tight dress today for the first time. You're my courage in motion. But success came with a price. Cersei was furious. She started manipulating the edits, twisting everything to make it look like I was starting fights, like I was fake, like I was using Jack to get attention. The audience split. Love and hate in equal measure. And me? I just wanted to breathe. One night, after a particularly cruel episode, I knocked on Jack's dressing room door. "Can I come in?" "Of course," he said, surprised. "They're going to destroy me, Jack. They're twisting everything." He stepped closer. "I know, but you can't give up now. You don't get it. I've become a character. They hate me." "Rachel," he placed his hand over mine, "I don't hate you." It was the first time he touched me, and for a moment, everything else disappeared. The cameras, the lights, the fear. There was just us. "You shouldn't be saying that," I whispered. "Maybe not, but it's the only real thing in this entire show." And that's when I realized it was already too late. I was falling in love, but love and exposure never mix. The following week, photos of us leaked. Cersei lost it. She called me into her office, slamming printed headlines on the table. "You've ruined the show, Rachel." I was just being myself. "You were naive. He's an actor, a character. Do you really think someone like him would choose you?" That sentence hurt more than any online hate comment. "Maybe he just saw me the way no one ever did," I said, trying to hold back tears. "Then take a look at this," she snapped, tossing a tablet onto the desk. On the screen, an edited clip of Jack laughing with another contestant, a cruel caption beneath it implying everything between us had been scripted. "You think his love is real, Rachel. My show is, and in it, you're just content." I left her office feeling the ground vanish beneath me. And for the first time in a long time, I looked down at my red shoes and thought, maybe even they're tired of carrying me. That night, I walked out of the studio without looking back. The lights blinded me. The voices pierced through me. In the parking lot, I sat in my car and didn't move. No strength left even to turn the key. Jack's face wouldn't leave my mind. But now, doubt was louder than any feeling. What if she's right? What if all of this was just a perfectly written script? When I got home, the internet had already exploded. Screenshots, videos, comments. People debated whether I was a victim or a manipulator. Some defended me. Others tore me apart. She's just playing the victim to get attention. He'd never look twice at someone like her. Girls like Rachel only go on TV to become a meme. I read every word, every insult, and it felt like the entire country was reminding me of an old fear, the fear of not being enough. I stayed inside for days. Even Cersei didn't call. Her silence was confirmation enough. To her, I had never been more than a disposable experiment. But what hurt the most was Jack's silence. No message, no explanation, nothing. So I decided that if this was all just a game, I would be the first one to walk away. 2 months passed. The show ended. Cersei collected awards, contracts, polite congratulations, and I collected invisible scars. But something unexpected happened during that time. Even far from the cameras, people kept reaching out to me. Messages arrived every day. "Rachel, thank you for reminding me that I can love myself. You made me feel beautiful for the first time." I read each one and felt my heart beat differently. Maybe the love I thought I'd lost wasn't Jack's love. Maybe it was my own. That's how the idea for my brand was born. A small atelier, hidden on a quiet street, called Free Step. Shoes for every body. No mandatory heels, no standards, no guilt. The first pair I designed had a phrase engraved on the sole: "To remind you who you are when the world tries to make you forget." When I posted a photo of it online, within hours, thousands of women began commenting, sharing, posting pictures of themselves wearing the same red heels that once carried me. And that's when I understood. Cersei could cut my lines, erase my scenes, but she could never cut what I represented. One afternoon, as I was sewing, the phone rang. An unknown number. I answered, and heard a voice that still hurt. "Rachel, it's me." Time stopped. "Jack, I don't know if I can still call you, but I had to." "You've done this before," I said coldly. "I know, and I hate myself for taking so long." He took a deep breath. "Cersei pulled me away from everything, made me believe you were using the show to promote yourself. I was a coward. But when I saw the final episode, I realized what was really happening." "And what was happening, Jack?" I asked. "You were the only real person on that stage." I stayed silent. Part of me wanted to hang up. Another part just wanted to listen. "I want to see you," he said. "I don't know if I can." "Then just hear me. I watched you grow. I saw you break and still rise again. I fell in love with that, Rachel. And I still am." The tears came before I could stop them. "Why now, Jack, after everything?" "Because now, it's real." In the days that followed, I thought about everything, what I felt, what I feared. Love, for me, had always been a promise with an expiration date. But what if, this time, it was different? What if love wasn't about losing myself, but finding myself again? I decided to meet him. When I arrived at the cafe, he was already there, sitting near the window. The same eyes, softer now, more human. When he saw me, he stood up slowly, hesitant. "You came." "I'm not sure for how long," I said. He smiled faintly. "However long you're here, it's enough." We sat. The silence between us said everything words couldn't. "Rachel, I don't want to erase what happened. I just want to build something new, if you'll let me." "You don't owe me pretty words, Jack," I said quietly. "You owe me presence. Then let me stay." We stayed in silence for a long time, and for the first time, the silence didn't hurt. Over time, Jack started helping me in the atelier. No cameras, no interviews, just a man and a woman relearning how to believe in love. Cersei, on the other hand, couldn't stand it. When the press found out Jack and I were together again, she gave interviews implying that I was using the show's name to sell shoes. But this time, I didn't hide. I posted a picture, no long caption, just one sentence. This time, I'm the one writing the script. And the responses were different. "We love you, Rachel. You won your own way. Thank you for showing us that love also fits in real bodies." That's when I realized I didn't have to prove anything anymore. Not to Cersei. Not to the world. A year later, Free Step became a success. But the most beautiful success was something else entirely. Jack and I learned to love in silence, without needing the world to applaud. One morning, he asked me to walk by the beach. The wind was soft, the sun shy. I was barefoot. He looked at me with that same old gaze and said, "You know what I love most about you?" "What?" "You don't walk to impress, you walk to exist." I laughed, my heart full. "And yet, I still stumble sometimes." "Then I'll catch you." In that moment, I realized love wasn't about fitting in. It was about being free. On our wedding day, I wore my red shoes, not because they were expensive, but because they reminded me of who I was and everything I had to cross to get there. As I walked in, Jack whispered, "Beautiful shoes," and I smiled. They've always taken me to unexpected places. We kissed under sincere applause. But what mattered most was what I felt inside. Peace. Today, when I walk through the streets and hear the sound of my heels, click, 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 I remember that girl who thought she had to be perfect to be loved. And if one day someone asks me what I've learned from all of this, I'll smile and say, love didn't show up when I finally fit in. It showed up when I stopped trying. The woman who was ridiculed on national television, the entrepreneur who started over with courage, and the person who discovered that true love never needs a mold. I still have bad days, still have clothes that don't fit, mirrors that lie, memories that ache. But I also have the sound of my steps, and that sound reminds me that I kept walking. Because life, like love, is made of imperfect steps toward something beautiful. And if one day someone asks me what I've learned from all of this, I'll smile and say, love didn't show up when I finally fit in. It showed up when I stopped trying.